It's not just another day in your life. Things are changing for the better. At Comcast, we see those changes, and we're thinking about how we use technology today to live, work, learn, and play. And we're building for the future now, so we're better prepared for the wants and needs of tomorrow. That's why Comcast is rolling out multi-gig internet speeds to more than 50 million homes and businesses before the end of 2025, making our already industry-leading network even faster, smarter, greener, and more reliable. Over the decades, Comcast has been your partner, working hard to serve your community, and will continue to be your partner. We're expanding our gigabits so you can enjoy the tiny bits that matter most.
I'm Brandon Jones, host of the Teen Mental Health Podcast, It Is Not Your Fault.
And I'm Lambert Fisher, family therapist and host of the Diversity Dude podcast.
We're not always going to be all right, and that's what makes us human. Often, when we're in pain or even thinking of suicide, we may not want others to know, but you'll feel better if you talk to someone. And you can do that safely and anonymously.
We can recognize when loved ones are not okay. They bottle up, they isolate, they're angry.
That's why we want you to know about 988 Minnesota Lifeline for someone you're worried about or even yourself.
Anyone with an emotional or mental health related need can call, chat, or text 988 for free, confidential support. You can connect with 988 to discuss difficulty with money, relationships, anxiety, your job, concerns about drug or alcohol use, grief support, figuring out your identity, and more.
You don't even have to identify yourself or the person you're calling about, and no insurance is needed.
988 is available 24/7 year-round and can interpret in more than 200 languages.
So take a brave step. Call or text 988.
Or chat at 988lifeline.org. You don't have to do this alone.
It's Not Your Fault is a podcast for parents, caregivers, and young people navigating the world and its challenges. Here's your host, Brandon Jones.
Greetings all. Welcome back to another installment of It Is Not Your Fault, a teen mental health podcast. I'm your host, Brandon Jones. And on today's episode, we are unfortunately going to be responding to the school shooting that took place in Georgia, recently. Now, school shootings, community-based violence, whether that's shootings or other acts, are not unfamiliar in today's time. It's unfortunate that this is a reality that many young people, families, communities, educators, schools are experiencing. And every time one of these things happen, two things come up as far as the social dialogue. One is gun control, and the other is the mental health of the youth. We're not going to cover gun control on this podcast, but we will talk about the youth response and the emotional response to things like school shootings. I will also like to share, because it doesn't always sit right with me, that when these school shootings do happen, that they reach a peak of media attention. But we have shootings and community-based gun violence taking place all the time that doesn't always get the same level of focus. I think that the turmoil, the trauma, the adversity, and the ripple effect of all violence is important to pay attention to. But when school shootings happen, such as the one that took place in Georgia, it does put a scope and a focus, no pun intended, on this problem. This is a problem. All gun violence, any violence upon children or just human beings in general, is not good. So I want to talk about the mental health responses from this, because I've received several questions and I said, well, hey, what better place to address these questions than here on the podcast? The first question that has come up a lot due to these events has been, how can parents and caregivers support young people in schools after tragic events like the Appalachia High School shooting? And my response to that is this. Parents and caregivers play a critical role in supporting youth by providing safe spaces and open communication. It is not easy to talk to your children after something like a school shooting takes place. One of the places that we deem as a safety zone for many children is threatened when these types of events and engagements happen. And that can leave a lot of young people and, the helping adults, the educators involved, they can leave those folks in a space of discomfort, a space of fear, a high levels of anxiety. So it's important to address those emotions and not keep them balled up or just assume that the children in your life are just going to move beyond this without any issue or concern. It's important that we encourage teens to share their feelings without judgment to help them process the level of trauma they've experienced when one of these type of incidents happen. It's also important to monitor the signs of distress, such as the sudden changes in moods, behaviors, sleep patterns, appetite. And if you notice any of those things, please seek out professional help if you can. Additionally, this is one of the most important times for you to become a collaborator with the schools. Schools do play a role in this dynamic, and communication is one of the biggest tools that the school has. And they don't always have the answers right away, but making sure that you're connecting with folks in that school building and you're getting the answers to your question, and you're also offering some support for what the school may need is a very important step in addressing the mental and emotional well-being of the youth when these incidents happen. And I would also encourage parents and caregivers not to wait till this hits close to home, but do this proactively. So hopefully we have some better responses if it does ever happen within your community. That there's something that you is already set in place that you're familiar with. I hope that it never happens again. Sadly, we're in a world where these things are happening so frequently that there is a good chance that it may happen again. So it's better to be prepared than not to be prepared. So, as a parent, I highly encourage parents to also model self care and resiliency. Show up for your child, engage in dialogue, and also not just with your child, but also with the school as well. So that's my answer to the first question. The next question that I've received a lot on is how can parents and caregivers talk about shootings to reduce fear of the youth? So, when talking about school shootings, parents and caregivers can reduce fear by approaching the conversation honestly, providing reassurance, and giving age appropriate information. Now, these are three tips that I often get in trouble for saying because a lot of times we overshare with our kids. And I always think that it's important that you give age appropriate information. Don't give half truths. Do not lie to your children, but give them enough for what they need to know so that they can keep moving forward in their lives. And it gives them enough security and comfort to keep moving forward. Also, give reassurance. Yes, it is true that you can't predict everything that happens, but give some reassurance for the things that you can have influence on so that your child or the young people in your life know that you're paying attention, you care, and that you do have some level of response if anything does take place. It's hard to prevent these incidents. It really is. But we should always have an appropriate response as parents, caregivers, and community members for the betterment of our young people. And then the last thing is to be honest. We tell our children half truths all the time. It's something that we really have to stop doing because our children have so much access to information that you'll get caught up in not telling them the full truth and they'll go find it elsewhere. So being honest is very, very key in helping reduce the fear and anxiety around school shootings and other incidents that may take place at the school. All right, a couple more questions and then we'll get to wrap this up. How can we ensure kids' mental health is top of mind when reflecting on school shootings? Very good question. So, my response to this question was to ensure children's mental health is prioritized after school shootings, it is essential to create a supportive environment that fosters emotional safety and open communication. Emotional safety and open communication. Again, you want to make sure that you are tending to the emotional needs and requests of the young people, just allowing them to know that there is some level of emotional safety here. Doesn't mean they're going to be 100% comfortable, but at least they know that there's an effort taking place where they live, in their community, and in their school. So where they play, learn, work, and live. These are all important places for emotional safety to be present. Also, with that emotional safety, schools, families, and communities should collaborate to provide immediate access to mental health resources. Very, very key thing. There should be collaboration. Schools should come together with community, community should come together with families, families should come together with schools, and vice versa, all the way around. It's a circular opportunity to provide and wrap ourselves around our children. This healing experience may look like, healing circles, spiritual things, sports teams coming together, actual mental health professionals, other types of well-being techniques. It could be, petting dogs. It could be a lot of things, but community has to rally to show support in these moments. And I would also say that discussions around these events should be handled with care, focusing on the children's well being, their emotional well being, instead of just the incidents and the details of the tragedy. It is very easy for us to get caught up in the details of something horrific. It's like it's like when you pass a car accident, it's hard to look away. But it's important for us to understand the ripple effect, and that's what we're responding to, not just the details. Not saying that the details are not important. They are. But that can soak up a lot of the healing opportunity, and we want to prevent that as best as we can. All right, last question that I responded to is is where can students and parents go for help to support processing school shooting events? So sometimes community doesn't always know where to go or what to do. And here's my response to how you can approach that. Students and parents should seek help from various resources to process the emotional impact of school shootings. Schools are often the immediate support through counselors, psychologists, social workers who are trained in trauma informed care. But making these the first key people and points of contact is important, but there are other things out there as well, such as community mental health organizations, such as local clinics and nonprofits. There's also other clinical service that may be out there as well. Some of the more national, well-known organizations like this are the National Alliance for Mental Illness, also known as NAMI. They have chapters all throughout the United States. So you should see if there's a NAMI in your city or town or somewhere close. They have tons of resources. And if that doesn't help, I always recommend 988 as an opportunity to connect, and also the crisis text line. Those are two great tools that can be utilized that are national tools where you can get some help immediately if you need to be pointed in the right direction. One more area for resources as I close out that I think is important, because a lot of people don't go here unless you're professional. But there is an organization called the National Child Traumatic Stress Network, the National Children's Traumatic Stress Network, NCTSN. You put that in Google and you'll find tons of information. These are folks who study and provide, various different tools and models to deal with the traumatic events that take place in young people's lives. They have tons of resources and tools. So if you're a professional, if you're a parent, caregiver, heck, if you're a young person and you want more info, there's a great resource for you, the National Child Traumatic Stress Network. Check it out. There's tons of information there. And then I already mentioned this, but I'm going to mention it one more time as I close. If you're dealing with something right now and you need to talk to somebody, please reach out to 988. 988 is a free 24-hour, 7 days a week service that will get you the help that you need. Don't be afraid to call. Even if you just have questions, give the number a shot and see what ends up happening from there. And also don't be afraid to talk to somebody you care about or somebody that you know cares about you. With that, I'm going to close out. There's 3 places you can find us. The first place is on Facebook at our Facebook group. If you go to the Facebook search engine, just type in "It Is Not Your Fault Podcast." So that's "It Is Not Your Fault Podcast" in the search engine. You can find us and just go ahead and like us there at our Facebook group. You'll find this material that I wrote here. You'll find other podcast episodes and other articles that are very helpful. The other place you can reach us is at my own personal website, www.jegna. That's jegna.org, jegna.org, where you can reach out to me directly. And if you like this content and other content, check out my friends on the network. That network is ShalettaMakesMeLaugh.com. Again, that's Shaletta, makesmelaugh.com, where you can find me and other wonderful therapists doing amazing, not just therapists, we got professionals, folks who are doing amazing work in various different areas on our network. So check us out. And with that, I would like to say be safe, be constructive, be well, and we'll see you on the next episode. Take care.
To check out previous episodes of It's Not Your Fault, or to learn more about Brandon Jones, log on to ShalettaMakesMeLaugh.com.
You know Shaletta makes you laugh, but did you know Shaletta Brundage can also make you think and boost your business? Media personality, activist, and comedian Shaletta Brundage founded Shaletta Makes Me Laugh to celebrate and share the best of Black culture. It's a podcasting platform. You can download 10 weekly podcasts hosted by African-American subject experts at ShalettaMakesMeLaugh.com or wherever you find your favorite podcasts. ShalettaMakesMeLaugh.com is also a production house, creating broadcast-quality commercial content. And Shaletta and her team of storytellers create powerful promotional campaigns to get businesses the brand awareness they're looking for. Some of Minnesota's top businesses trust Shaletta, and you can too. Get out the word about your events and products and get in front of communities of color with ShalettaMakesMeLaugh.com. She's got the power to help your business.
Mark your calendar for October 17th. That's Open House Day at Summit Academy OIC. And that's where your next career begins. In just 20 weeks, Summit Academy can prepare you to be a medical administrative assistant, IT specialist, carpenter, electrician, or financial services professional. These are good paying jobs in high demand in the Twin Cities. Summit Academy will not only prepare you for a job with advancement opportunities, they'll help you connect with employers and hiring managers. That's right, Summit Academy has a list of local employer partners ready and eager to hire Summit graduates. At the open house, you'll meet Summit instructors and staff. These incredible people will guide you through the entire process, from application to graduation. And if you're looking to earn your GED, Summit can help with that. Come to Summit Academy's open house, located at 935 Olson Memorial Highway in North Minneapolis. Find out more at saoic.org. And we'll see you October 17th from 3 to 5 p.m.
If you live in an older home, it may contain lead-based paint on walls, woodwork, and windows. Even more bad news, lead exposure can be dangerous to young children and impact their brain development. And now, the good news. Hennepin County will fix lead hazards in your home at no cost to you.
We were worried because of the paint in the windows in the bedroom. They were peeling and chipping, and we know that when paint peels and chips and it looks a certain way, that's possibly lead. We were worried for our children more so than anything.
Eligible homes can qualify for up to $15,000 in upgrades. You may even qualify for new energy-efficient windows. Don't worry, Hennepin County has a trusted list of pre-approved contractors. You won't even have to find companies with correct licenses or certifications.
I've just done a test and it's positive. So we know that this is lead-based paint, and then we know it's a hazard because it's creating dust every time this window moves and opens. And if you look in here, that's just full of lead paint chips.
You won't have to stay with your cousin while you're getting the lead out. Hennepin County even pays for you and your family to stay in a hotel while the work is underway. The last good news is how easy it is to apply. Just go to hennepin.us/lead control to get started.
I'm really happy with the program. We can go to bed knowing that our children are safe.
That's hennepin.us/lead control. Tell your friends about it.
I'm Brandon Jones, host of the Teen Mental Health Podcast, It Is Not Your Fault.
And I'm Lambert Fisher, family therapist and host of the Diversity Dude podcast.
We're not always going to be all right, and that's what makes us human. Often, when we're in pain or even thinking of suicide, we may not want others to know, but you'll feel better if you talk to someone, and you can do that safely and anonymously.
We can recognize when loved ones are not okay. They bottle up, they isolate, they're angry.
That's why we want you to know about 988 Minnesota Lifeline for someone you're worried about or even yourself.
Anyone with an emotional or mental health related need can call, chat, or text 988 for free, confidential support. You can connect with 988 to discuss difficulty with money, relationships, anxiety, your job, concerns about drug or alcohol use, grief support, figuring out your identity, and more.
You don't even have to identify yourself or the person you're calling about, and no insurance is needed.
988 is available 24/7 year-round and can interpret in more than 200 languages.
So take a brave step. Call or text 988.
Or chat at 988lifeline.org. You don't have to do this alone.
The November election is coming, and adults with autism, you are eligible to participate. As long as you're 18 by November 5th, a U.S. citizen, and have no restrictions to court order, you can exercise your precious right to vote. There are many ways Minnesota makes this process comfortable for you. Right now, you can vote in person at an early voting center. Early voting centers are less busy in this time leading up to Election Day, which means fewer lines and activities. That may make you feel more comfortable. Or you can request an absentee ballot and vote by mail. That's right. You can cast your ballot without leaving your home. You can also vote without leaving your car. If you choose curbside voting on Election Day on November 5th, election judges will bring your ballot right to your vehicle. Once you mark it, they'll put it in the ballot box for you. Make your plan to make your voice heard this election season. Your vote counts. You can learn more at mnvotes.gov. That's mnvotes.gov.